Doesn't work out, though. Envy still have a second game to play, though. They're going to be taking on SoaR, and everyone's coming to land, though, so that's good. So in these next 4 weeks, right, in these online phases, it is important to fix your mistakes. That's what everyone's trying to do, because when it comes to land, that's what really matters. You want to finish top in your group so you can make it and qualify for Super Regionals.
This is like Spartacus in the training ground right now. They're training to become the gladiators in the future.
All right, okay, I can feel it.
Yeah, they're like little young children right now, battling against...
Are they going to rebel and break out, though? Because that's what happens in Spartacus. Spoilers, by the way. Don't worry, it's a great show. Watch it anyway. You talked about the ROM band, so that's
right away. I didn't expect it to be like this quickly, though. I expected like future teams, like other teams, not in this set.
Well, Kuang's left open again. SoaR, they're going to ban away Kiki's Aphrodite, obviously. They don't want anyone to grab that for now. And Envy also banned Nemesis, which has kind of just become a staple ban at
It's all about the comfort bans between these two teams. Afro away from Kiki, Ram away from Snoopy. Nemesis is basically a staple ban nowadays. Normally, it used to be a target ban, but you have to respect just the amount of pressure she brings from such a short cooldown on her ultimate.
And SoaR also going to be banning away Fafnir, so just like Nemesis, another one of those staple bans. Don't want to leave those gods open. Typically, they're first pick now. Although I think, you know, having no bans would be interesting.
I'm assuming there's going to be, I was going to say another Kuang first pick. Susanoo wasn't picked or banned last game?
I think it was banned instead of the ROM.
Yeah, SoaR banned Susanoo the first time around.
And Kuang this time going to be over to Skeeledon, a much different player than andinster. We saw Skeeledon play a little bit passive, I would say. We didn't really see him try and fight too much early outside of the one engagement where he fell. Yeah,
we saw the replay where he tried to make a play onto andinster, but a nice turnaround, found the snipes as well. Not really anywhere for him to go. Huyi and Bacchus this time.
So reverse teams, we have the same beginning picks and bans, and I mean, we saw what the Huyi Bacchus could do, right? Because the dual lane for Envy was dominating SoaR's dual lane. We saw Metyankey get picked off 2 times in the early game, and then Ocean just on his rotations, right? He was always ahead of Metyankey, and when he came, it almost always resulted in a kill for Envy.
I want to say those first 2 deaths onto Met was because of the Soul Stone. He didn't have the sustain, he didn't have the extra health from Vamp Shroud as well. It didn't really work out for him in the early game, but once he got to the mid to late game anyway, the team fights started happening.
Yes.
Leaning on Baskin in the front line, he didn't need that 100 health in those team fights.
Well, Envy here, they're going to be rocking the Magical Hunter too. Maybe. They've got Neith and Soul, so I think Kiki will play the Soul more than likely. I feel like that's more of a Kiki god. Although, I mean, they're both females, so they both work.
We've seen a lot of Neiths in middle. I'm not going to take this bet.
I don't know. I feel like Neith is like safer and Soul's more of a playmaker, so I want to say it's going to go on to Oceans, because I think they need Oceans on a god that can really just carry the way the game goes.
I would definitely put Soul on Oceans, and I would put Kiki with Neith, just to be able to farm as much as you can with a Transcendence, get more physical power to get those World Weavers hitting really hard in the side lanes.
Yeah, and Neith does really good at the mid-harpy contest, as well as having that ultimate that can help out either side lane. Raijin going to be picked up for SoaR, so we've seen these 3 gods a lot, right? And the 4th is Susanoo, where it's Bacchus, Huyi, Raijin, and then Susanoo in the jungle. Like those have so much damage in the early game that it's very hard to fight into them once they get their ults online.
So much mobility on top of that as well. You always have to respect their early game pressure. At all stages of the game, there are a lot of... And we haven't really seen the Naj Shah ban coming out of EnVyUs.
And this might just be like there's a lot of... I mean, there's a lot of damage to set up on the side of SoaR. And so just banning away that knowledge, although Susanoo is still open, if that's something andinster wants to go into it, I think that's a god that fits his style, has a lot of mechanical ability just for outplays.
I think that Thor and Fenrir fits that same category, so he has a luxury of junglers remaining for him.
And I mean, yeah, I mean, he could go Fenrir and just be a frontliner, right? I mean, Metyankey on Huyi, you got Snoopy on Raijin, that's a lot of damage, and you could just be the setup man. Not saying that that's what, you know, he wants to play, but he's going to be actually saving his pick for the last.
Going to be some Wukong for Baskin this time in the Soul lane, who don't have the Soul lane quite yet out of EnVyUs. Although there is an Kuang here. CycloneSpin has played Kuang before.
Okay. I don't know if that might be a little bit too risky.
It's pretty spicy. What if they pick up Susanoo here?
I mean,
EnVyUs.
I mean, that's going to be like pure just reliant on skill and not team comp at that point.
Erlang Shen, though.
You could jungle with Erlang Shen. You could jungle with Erlang Shen, and I think that's viable.
It's going to be Soul lane Erlang Shen. You have better sustain with a Death Toll, double proc, and then you're going to have easy long-range poke against some Wukong.
But CycloneSpin out Kuang solo, though.
against some Wukong that can poke you from so far away, you're just going to be constantly getting bullied out as Kuang in the solo against the Wukong.
Well, it seems to be a poke composition and a siege composition here for Envy. They've drafted Sylvanus. A lot of sustain on this god with the Wisps and just the immense amount of poke on Envy, right? Neith, Soul, and even Erlang Shen with the pin. That's a lot of long-range abilities. And then Kuang as well can kind of loop around the back line. And I think Envy are kind of playing for that game.
It seems that SoaR have just basically stolen every single pick away from Envy this game, with the exception of middle.
Of Raijin. Because Raijin was
that's
banned
the only mid.
So, I mean, SoaR's just like, we're going to beat you with your own comp.
Basically.
That's what they said.
They should have picked Nua.
Just a style.
Just a style.
Just a style.
Yeah.
Oh, man. This is different, though, right? Because now you have this Sylvanus, and then the Serqet is last picked into it. And Serqet is a really good counter to Sylvanus.
Serqet is honestly a good counter to most Guardians. So saving that last pick for the jungler, there were so many options. Definitely leaning on this last Sylvanus pick on the side of EnVyUs. Andinster still has a good mindset for that kind of style where he wants to find the counter matchups. And then we see in the solo lane specifically, Kiki looking for some vision. They're expecting some aggression out of SoaR.
I mean, Wukong has a lot of poke damage. He could also go Master's Will for the slow. But I don't think they want to invade an Erlang Shen, right?
Yeah, invading an Erlang Shen, that's not something I would want to do.
That sounds dangerous, right? Pin is still really good. Pin is like one of the better non-ultimate abilities in the game right now.
And invading any god that has a splash in hand on the 4th or 5th hit chain, it's like, you know, like, yeah, let's just invade an Osiris at level 1. That seems like a good thing.
That's one of the reasons that Naja and Thanatos are really good too, because it's not even, I mean, Death Scythe first chunks you, right? And then the ring bounce against 2 people will shred you.
And then they both have splash in hands.
And they'll be slowed, and they both have splash in hands. They should run that Thanatos solo or Naja solo, and then just invade.
The invade comp.
Yeah, just do Thanatos, Naja. Doesn't matter which is solo, and just invade.
Well, it's going to be standard starts from both teams, just going for speed blue into red, not really having any sort of shenanigans. There's no wraths from either of these two teams in both games yet.
We actually haven't seen a lot of wrath at all in the SPL. I was kind of expecting to see more of it. We saw a significant amount of it in relegations. What some people say is that a lot of newer teams or not high-level teams rely on the Wrath a little bit too much, right? They just buy it as the gimmick so they can get or contest early Gold Furies.
It also depends what you want to do. What is your strategy? Do you want to be able to out-clear the red buff as a result of getting to the duo lane first? Nice try from PolarBearMike, not connecting on the pull. But yeah, if you use the Wrath on the red buff right away, you get to duo lane first. Then you have the pressure for the remainder of the duo lane.
Oh, look at this. Trouble for Neith there in the mid as we actually see SoaR getting very aggressive, and Kiki almost takes a spill already, level 2.
He has still 1 health potion remaining. His Unravel should top him off very soon. Solo lane matchup, CycloneSpin and Baskin, they're going to try to outpoke each other, but
this goes to Cyclone, right?
I would say CycloneSpin should have the advantage.
I mean, it's Erlang Shen does a lot, and just look at this on the left-hand side. Envy has been at this tower edge from minute 1.
With PolarBearMike having the splash in hands in general, being able to clear the backs, red and boars, allowed EnVyUs to find the dual lane pressure that they needed to.
And I mean, Envy want to fight this because they have Sylvanus too. So any poke they take is going to be healed up or mitigated with the protection on Wisp. I would imagine PolarBearMike is leveling up Wisps. Can we check?
Well, he's only level 3, so he has all 3 abilities right now.
We're going to wait till he's 4. He's going to hit 4 here soon, and then he'll...
And Jigz right now, he doesn't even want a belly flop because he knows he's going to get pulled as soon as he lands rooted, and then Soul's just going to go to town.
And yeah, I mean, we saw PolarBearMike actually just try and free pull Jigz there in the last wave. And I think that's just going to continue to happen. He just wants to get off as much damage as possible.
Going to find the jump, Metyankey, not taking too much poke for the trouble. And because of PolarBearMike having that sustain, they don't really care about these trades.
At all. And you can see the meditation was actually picked up by Jigz to counteract that, because Envy are just running siege, right? They've got the Neith, the Soul for the poke, the Kuang for the loop around, and PolarBearMike on a Sylvanus to heal everyone up. It's just like a Guan Yu.
Seems Baskin's getting the better end of CycloneSpin in this matchup. Kind of curious to see how he's playing this laning phase.
Potion-wise, they're both on 1 of each. CycloneSpin just burned his multi. So yeah, it's actually going both ways, although Baskin's taking a lot of poke. The issue is it's just a bait for the rotation. Here's the Neith ult as well. CycloneSpin trying to survive, but he can't get his ultimate heal off in time.
The World Weaver not making an impact as well. Nice try, however. First blood going to SoaR, going to also Baskin, so he's going to be able to be very aggressive.
And speaking of aggression, Ocean's only level 4. He's got to run, and Jigz, I think, is lining up the belly flop. up, and PolarBearMike just body blocking, making it hard for him to kind of close that gap.
Yeah, Metyankey is level 5. He wants to find the kill onto Oceans to be able to out-trade, almost connecting on the ricochet, but the knock-up into the ultimate, gonna find the kill.
And even on the right-hand side, there was aggression going on, and Oceans will be cleaned up. SoaR once again finding 2 quick kills, and they're baiting again. They saw that the speed buff had spawned, but they wanted CycloneSpin to rotate back in. Good pin from him, but he's quickly turned on. His ultimate's activated, trying to get the heal, and he will survive, but just barely.
Doesn't matter because now we see Baskin. He's going to be able to continuously poke out CycloneSpin. Now there's no ultimate, no sustain. There's going to have to be a little bit of pressure from Skeeledon and maybe even the rotation from PolarBearMike.
And look at this. Because Envy was forced to defend their speed buff, that left the entire left side of the map open. Boars are going to get stripped away. No red buff invade, though. Envy still playing it a little bit safe.
This time it's going to be SoaR on the dual lane playing aggressive with the Hui this time around.
Yeah, they've got the Hui box. And yeah, now that they survived that very early level 5 where Sylvanus is just going to dominate in lane, they'll be absolutely fine to take on the Soul. And you could see Metyankey, excuse me, PolarBearMike, you know, he's rotating back, but I don't expect him to be in this lane much longer.
Not at all. We see the rotation from Metyankey picking up the Transcendence. So going back into this laning phase, he's going to continuously look for those ricochets off the wall. It's going to hit that much harder.
He doesn't have any sustain, though, so he does have to be a little bit careful. Still has the health potion, but he's even bought wards. I think he remembers what happened last time. He wants to make sure that he has full vision of Skeeledon if he's trying to rotate and pick him off.
Especially with a Neith in the mid lane with a World Weaver that you always have to watch out for in both side lanes. On the right-hand side, seems that the rotation from Serqet is there.
Again, CycloneSpin is absolutely bullied. The shield might be enough. The heal doesn't even matter because there is the true damage on the Serqet ult. Baskin going to get knocked up as well. PolarBearMike does manage to answer back, but I mean, CycloneSpin, he's died twice now, almost a third time.
Baskin didn't have the mana to go buck out to the cloud, unfortunately for him.
Just short. Just short. And Baskin here, level 8, he's got a level lead on to CycloneSpin. There's been a lot of action in Soul Lane these 2 games. More so, obviously, this one.
Well, especially with the Serqet. That's what you want to do. You don't really anticipate these kinds of early ganks. The ultimate preventing the sustain coming out of the Erlang Shen's ultimate, which is a big factor.
Yeah, with that 100% healing reduction, I was thinking andinster was going to gank Sylvanus, which is normally what happens, but he also has that really good matchup into Erlang Shen as well.
Yeah, it's a flexibility pick for andinster, and this is why he had so many options in junglers between the Fenrir, the Thor. Going to get spotted out. Great ward coming from Cyclone.
I didn't think andinster would camp it a third time. This is old school AFK. This is camp the Soul Lane, get Baskin ahead, and put Cyclone down. Don't let him get a lead into the late game.
Not at all. Jigz making the rotation in middle, gonna get spotted out. Skeeledon, water illusioning away. Now with the Snoopy being level 9 with red buff, they could look for a play somewhere in the side lanes.
And they are gonna be rotating over. There's no mid harpies or fire ellies spawning just yet, but I think they're just off on the timer right now. Although speed buff's coming soon, and you can see the ward just placed by Baskin. Skeeledon, I don't think knows that Snoopy's around this corner, but trouble in the mid for Kiki.
Going to be able to backflip away, but the ultimate from Snoopy going to find the kill with the Serqet ultimate as well. No heal for you, buddy.
Just absolutely clean play coming out. Nothing Kiki could do. His backflip got baited very early on. Popped this purification, but it's three of the highest damage, you know, mid-game characters, and you're not going to be able to stop that. And because of that kill, they opened up speed for themselves to invade for free.
Definitely going to need to start placing some early wards underneath those harpies on the bottom right-hand side. It's SoaR that have the bottom right ward instead of Envy.
Yeah, and I mean, they've just completely controlled this jungle. CycloneSpin's been bullied out. Kiki took a spill as well, and SoaR are very comfortable right now. They've got about a 2K lead, which 7 minutes in is pretty decent. It's really going to come down to their power spike items, though.
Skeeledon with the World Weaver onto Metyankey.
I feel like this kill has to happen.
Down.
It's got to happen. Execute range, clean.
Not even needing to use the execute at all. Supernova was used. That was enough damage. Now Metyankey slightly overextended. He did have a 2-level lead with the Transcendence, building up the stacks. He felt very comfortable taking those pokes.
I think he wanted to fight. He just didn't expect the rotation from Skeeledon there, and the full group up as CycloneSpin still able to actually steal away that buff from Baskin because he was low mana.
Which is huge now because Baskin, like you mentioned, he has no mana. He doesn't have Breastplate of Valor quite finished, and a huge mana pool for CycloneSpin.
Envy, ooh, PolarBearMike knocked up, intoxicated as well, and you can see the jump forward as Kiki trying to get out, but the counter ultimate coming out from PBM. Snoopy on full retreat trying to make it out as Baskin teleports in and finds PolarBearMike in the back line.
Baskin gonna go into the sky. Kiki, nowhere for him to go. Gonna get double ultimated, and that's gonna be the second death for Envy.
And Envy there just took too long to try and bait that Gold Fury. Quickly, just the abuse of the Sylvanus, who doesn't have any way to get out of there. Only had tier 2 of magical protection. Jigz knew it as well, and andinster and Baskin able to clean him up.
Snoopy back into base. They should be able to get the Gold Fury. Metyankey is going to start this up. The respawn timer from Kiki still in 5 seconds. Doesn't have the World Weaver available. Just have to watch out from taking too much damage.
andinster actually on zone duty, very deep into the jungle, finds Oceans as he pushes up, but CycloneSpin will be able to sneak through here. Gold Fury very low. CycloneSpin right around the corner. I don't think he has the timer. The pin goes over, but it's a little bit too late. World Weaver comes back. Great taunt as well. And Envy do manage to answer back to the Gold Fury.
With 8.5-minute Gold Fury going for SoaR. CycloneSpin
Snoopy's pushed
so
up.
close. Snoopy gonna find some return poke, although he doesn't have an escape.
Oh, PolarBearMike gonna root, but it's only Bacchus, and a great taunt coming out from Snoopy. Makes it hard for Envy to dive into the tower, but with the execute, Skeeledon is gonna manage to take him out anyway.
So Serqet can counter the Sylvanus, but on the flip side, the Kuang can definitely counter Bacchus as well. As long as you get him low enough with all your damage, you can easily find that execute.
And this is really good for Envy. They're able to find a kill off the 2 kills off the back end, also a stolen speed. But they've taken a long time to siege this tower, and it's allowed andinster to come back into the mid lane and force him off.
He doesn't really have an ultimate, so he doesn't want to commit too hard quite yet. Snoopy's ultimate is down as well, just electing to show presence more than anything else.
Yeah, just scare them away, right? Just make it be like, hey, we're here if you want a full commit. You know, it's going to be a team fight. You're not going to just be able to siege. And they have a lot of tower shred. Envy have an immense amount of tower shred.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Between the Soul and the Neith with the Transcendence, going to be pretty decent mid push as long as they have the number advantage.
And they also have Erlang Shen. Spot weakness, giving him extra power on his next basics. Like, it does add up.
With the attack speed of the mech as well.
Oh yeah, all of it. Erlang Shen's really good at tower pushing.
He's pretty good in general.
He's a great god here. CycloneSpin hasn't had a great game. He's actually been camped pretty significantly. Although, despite everything, down 500 gold when Baskin has a Gold Fury, that's pretty good.
Was able to find the blue buff steal, which definitely helped him out. Slowly inch his way back into the lane. And now look at this. Baskin back. So CycloneSpin, he has the timer on the blue buff, so he can easily squeeze that blue buff in, especially with these rotations.
And Baskin has 0 teleport as well. So CycloneSpin knows the timer. You can see the call. And no one from SoaR going to be able to stop this. Baskin's going to find out here shortly that it's been stolen away, though.
A lot of players from both teams making their way. Bacchus looking for the belly flop, but a perfect disengage from Envy. Is going all the way underneath, not cutting through middle.
One of the biggest problems I'm seeing from Envy, though, is like they're invading, but like all of the camps are split like 4 ways. And so they're significantly behind in experience because they're almost oversharing all the buffs.
But when you're invading, it's better to overshare that experience to make sure that if there is going to be a team fight, that you're all in position to throw out all the cooldowns.
Right-hand side. andinster wants CycloneSpin for a 3rd time. The taunt comes out. Deathbane's good. The ultimate as well. So CycloneSpin, he finds the taunt, but he might not be able to get the heal. Baskin still diving deep under, but he does. The Serqet poison actually ends too early. Jigz manages to clean up the kill there as the rotation from Envy. A little bit too late.
Just Sanctuary wasn't enough. Snoopy goes into his ultimate. PBM finding the damage over time, but it's not really much follow-up. He didn't get knocked up, and now PBM getting body blocked by Baskin.
Perfect from Baskin, and Andy feels like this is a kill. The knockup from Jigz. Deathbane really off the mark, and SoaR seemed a little bit less interested in diving that.
andinster missing the poison and the Deathbane, surprisingly. Very uncharacteristic.
Yeah, you don't see that. You don't see andinster missing abilities often, and especially not one after the other.
Yeah, definitely misjudged the knockup from the Bacchus, but regardless, finds the tier 1 tower after the kill onto CycloneSpin. Going to retreat. Gold here is going to respawn in about 1.5 minutes, and both teams going to look to try to ward that area.
Is he going to be able to finish it? No. Just shy. Going for the Jotun's Wrath, though. He's already got the Void Shield online to keep him alive against these physical carries, although I will say there's a lot of magical on Envy.
And we look at the last gank onto CycloneSpin. He knows that he was the target earlier on in the game, so what does he do at level 12? He picks up the Sanctuary, trying to negate the ultimate from andinster, but it still just wasn't enough. It did buy him enough time, though, to find the heal, but...
Yeah, I think that's the big thing, is that the Serqet poison doesn't last long enough. So if Serqet ults first, there's no worry from CycloneSpin because when he ults, it takes him 5 seconds to get the heal, which with the Serqet poison off, he's not going to be healing reduced, but he still needs to survive for those 5 seconds.
But the fact that you force a Sanctuary out of your soul laner means that there's less teamfight relics.
Yeah, no meditation, no sprint here. PolarBearMike going to be in trouble as well, and it's going to be a full engage. He's actually able to juke out and finds the knockup with his ult, but Snoopy over the wall, and PolarBearMike juking him out, one more hit, and it's going to be just out of range.
And now it's Baskin in the sky, just healing up, gonna retreat. The speed buff might get started out here, but SoaR have to be careful. Skeeledon very low as well.
Ooh, Snoopy still wants to fight. The ricochet. Oh, Kiki. I think he had like the slightest step forward after he landed on the backflip to juke that out. It wouldn't have killed him, but still would have done a fair amount of damage.
I clenched there for Kiki.
The squeaky bum time
squeaky
a little bit.
Just
like,
a little bit.
Oh, it's so close.
That was extremely close. Had he backstepped like half a foot more, that ricochet would have connected.
Ooh, Andy trying to get crazy here in the mid. He is going to get pulled. His Deathbane's down, but he's still able to jump away, and this is just a bait the whole time as SoaR have committed onto the Gold Fury. PolarBearMike's going to walk in, but on top of a ward, as andinster going to try and zone him out.
We see that there's no ultimate for PBM. He has to retreat. Doesn't really have the mobility.
With the
is
one.
He going to steal it?
With the one.
No, he didn't.
No, just short.
Yeah, he's going to retreat to SoaR after securing the Gold Fury up at the 14-minute mark. Not really much EnVyUs can do to respond. CycloneSpin having to farm on the right-hand side.
I will say this has been despite being down 4K, Envy have not looked bad. They haven't just given SoaR their lead. SoaR has had to earn their lead, right? It has not been easy for them.
Yeah, with just great rotations onto the soul lane, bullying out CycloneSpin in the early game, finding those 2 Gold Furies.
Mad. Oh, Mad.
Oh, close.
Skeeledon.
Hit the second one, almost hit the third.
Yeah, Skeeledon knew what was about to happen too. You saw him just quickly water illusion away.
And now with that, Tier 1 tower at least being responded, so EnVyUs, they still know what they can get away with. Able to find that Tier 1 mid tower. They're able to steal the speed buffs whenever necessary off of some kills. EnVyUs, they're still not out of it despite being behind about 5,000 gold.
The big problem is their experience, though. Like, if we check the graphs, you could see it's double the gold lead. It's almost 10,000 sitting there at 9,200. And Skeeledon's down multiple levels. Kiki's down multiple levels. Like, it's just, it adds up, unfortunately.
Yeah, you don't want to be a hunter 3 levels behind your mage opposition in the mid lane. Now we see Raijin finishing off that Book of Thoth. He's going to have the Rada to Hootie momentarily soon. So Snoopy paired up with andinster and Baskin in the front line. He's going to get off all 4 hits doing so much damage.
And you can see Kiki also building into what I'm assuming is going to be a Soul Eater, just so he has that extra sustained health. I mean, at this point, right, like...
He still doesn't have a second relic, just now hitting level 12, so this is not looking too good for EnVyUs. Is also on the side of PolarBearMike.
Yeah, only level 11, 15 minutes in, not where you want to be, especially with these gold... I guess this is okay, right, because Gold Fury was just taken. I mean, as long as it's going to be up for the next Gold Fury, as CycloneSpin, in trouble again, man.
Another gank, gonna find the taunt.
He'll get the heal.
He's using the Sanctuary, not gonna get the heal though. Oh, it did come. It was a very delayed heal, but either way, now with the rotation from Jigz, that's going to confirm the kill.
And you could see Cyclone's mindset, right? Like, okay, he's going to Serqet ult me, I'll Sanctuary most of the damage, and then I'll get the heal at the end. But it's just not working. He's not accounting for the 3-player rotation deep into his Tier 1.
And because of the rotation onto the soul lane, trying to survive or keep that Tier 2 tower alive, the Tier 1 mid falls for EnVyUs. SoaR capitalizing on that with Cyclone still dead for 20 seconds.
SoaR's actually, all of their team fights have been based around picking CycloneSpin, right? They kill CycloneSpin, and then they force an engagement trying to steal away speed. Or even if they don't kill him, they force him back, and they just have the numbers advantage.
They force the rotations, and they get something on the opposite side. We see on the left-hand side, Metyankey split pushing because of the rotation from Oceans, picking up the slack that Cyclone left behind.
And SoaR, like, you can see what they're doing, right? This is the complete opposite of Envy. When CycloneSpin was stealing the speed in game 1, Envy was still hanging around gold. SoaR recognized that, hey, Met's going to get a free tower. Let's back off. We don't need to take the 4v4. We're already ahead. We can guarantee a free Tier 1.
And now with the teleport being down on Cyclone, trying to defend the Tier 1 left, Snoopy with Jigz, gonna try to kill Skeeledon, and a great rotation from Metyankey.
Just pick after pick after pick. Envy cannot manage to stay alive for more than a minute into their lane. Just it's always a single person just getting picked off on their own.
And now SoaR, they're looking very strong with their level advantages. PolarBearMike just now hitting level 12. Sanctuary being picked up for the second relic for Kiki, but it doesn't really matter. He's just too far behind. andinster and Snoopy, level 16.
And andinster is 1-0-4. He's been a part of 8 of the 9, or excuse me, 1-0-7. He's been a part of 8 of the 9 kills. Baskin as well. And that's just to tell, like, you can just look at the stats, how this game has gone. 4 deaths on CycloneSpin. Baskin and andinster a part of almost every single kill. It's just been the full focus onto that right-hand side, making sure that CycloneSpin can't get a lead, and shutting down one of their key players.
And that's usually the style that andinster brings to a team, whether it was former Cloud9 or now SoaR. He's involved in a lot of kills in general. We saw the last game. The game started off a little slow for SoaR, but it was andinster that started leaning onto Baskin, finding the kills, and then that's when the ball started rolling for SoaR. But that happened really early this game because of, yet again, more solo lane pressure, but it was a level 5 Serqet gank. And
it was a level 5 Serqet gank against an Erlang Shen who relies on that heal, and it's negated in kind of a lot of scenarios. I mean, Erlang Shen also can't burn his heal until after Serqet's ulted him, because andinster is going to be able to find the timing to where that heal is not going to, activate at all if we see CycloneSpin be the first one to ult.
And it's a great idea to try to get CycloneSpin out of this team fight, because now your backline is protected. That's the only god out of EnVyUs that can really dive the backline is Cyclone.
Yeah, level 16 now, he's even. He's actually behind most of SoaR. He's only got a single item completed after Boots, as we see a jump forward here, but it's just SoaR trying to set up for the Gold Fury for now.
And without Cyclone in the backline, it's going to be Snoopy and Metyankey just raining pot shots, uncontested completely. It's going to be all-out aggression from SoaR once CycloneSpin is half health or less, having to retreat.
And it seems like SoaR are actually holding off for now. They have all 5 members up and the Gold Fury just spawned, but not wanting to take the fight. And actually, PolarBearMike and Envy are pushing up very deep. And I think that's just because they see Baskin on the right-hand side of the map. His TP is up, though.
andinster stealing the speed buff yet again away from Envy. Skeeledon 3 levels behind in the mid lane. Doesn't really see andinster, though.
He has no idea what's about to happen right now. The Mez is good. There's the Deathbane as well, the ult. And quickly, I mean, Skeeledon's had to purify away.
And gonna find the escape, still ticking away, gonna be out of the fight. And this is the advantage that SoaR kind of need to be able to force the Gold Fury. We see Skeeledon, he's out of the fight.
He's got to be, yeah, he's back. And this is just, once again, a numbers game. PolarBearMike needs to be very careful. Serqet actually stunned out. PolarBearMike pushes forward, finds the ult and knockup, but SoaR still the one chasing members out. andinster able to escape around the corner as PolarBearMike still stuck in the middle.
Everyone let PolarBearMike alone. CycloneSpin now, however, making a name for himself. There's no ultimate for andinster to bully him out.
Skeely's back. He's back. He's got Blink online too. No one low yet. The pin pushes forward. Skeeledon going to look for Jigz instead, going for the tanky target. The execute, it's popped a little bit too early, but the knockup from CycloneSpin been able to confirm the kill, but that's bought time for Snoopy and Metyankey to jump forward. Met's found 2 already. Skeeledon going to be able to manage to back, but I don't think CycloneSpin can. 3 for Metyankey.
Oh my goodness, 4 members dead for EnVyUs after this. Jigz sacrificing himself very efficiently. Gold Fury going to go in the way of SoaR as well. This is... I just don't see EnVyUs coming back into this one.
It's just like, just look at that graph. I mean, Envy have done a phenomenal job. I want to say that because you see some teams like Panthera versus Dignitas yesterday where Dignitas just let everything happen to him. Envy did not let everything happen to him. They tried to pick their fights. It just never seemed to go their way. They'd come close. andinster almost getting picked off at the beginning, but they just didn't have the chase potential.
That's the threat of the Serqet. You think that you're about to kill her, but oh, here comes the Deathbane. Here comes the ambush escape. You always have to watch out for her early cooldowns with that Jotun's Wrath.
Yeah, 20%.
Also, the Sanctuary, oh no, the Purification that was able to get him away from the Sylvanus crowd control. We saw Oceans chasing just, even for that slight 1 to 2 seconds, that was enough time for the rest of SoaR to surround PolarBearMike, find a quick kill.
And what happened there too was that SoaR invested a lot into PBM, but he's just naturally tanky with the Wisp, so he has protections and heal. And then Jigz actually, as CycloneSpin rotated in, ulted, I believe it was Kiki and Oceans in the back line, because that's when Envy were about to make their re-engage. And that Intoxicate made it so hard for them to be able to dive in and find the follow-up damage.
Whenever you're wobbling side to side, finding those in-hands, finding those abilities on the side of Envy is not a very easy task to do, especially abilities such as Supernova or the Spirit Hour from Kiki.
And 22 minutes in, SoaR have found themselves ahead by about 12,000. It's just been this like slow and steady gain once again, where they've just put so much attention over to CycloneSpin, they were able to open up the map significantly. And Kiki, I mean, he's so far behind at this point, only level 14 as a mid laner.
Baskin just zoning the members from EnVyUs away as the rest of his team starting to group up around the Fire Giant. 22 minutes in, SoaR very controlling with 12,000 gold in the lead. They're going to ward around, steal the speed buff yet again. World Weaver being channeled. Jigz
pushes forward, and PolarBearMike finds a 4-man knockup. Jigz to the back, and Skeeledon's trying to escape, but Snoopy's raining havoc in the Suns as well. Skeeledon can't manage to get away. Met finds one. SoaR pushing in. They've got two. CycloneSpin, the second, picked up, and they're all 5 still grouped up. Stellar Burst is solid, but andinster was able to jump over it. Kiki trying to make it to safety, but it's not going to happen.
No, that's 3 dead on this. That's 4 dead on EnVyUs, and they're just going to surrender. They don't want to play this out anymore.
Anyway.
It's game 2 going in the way of SoaR, finding 3 additional points.
And that was just, once again, a very clean game from SoaR. We saw the game plan from both teams at the start, right? It was, we run the Siege comp on the side of EnVy. We got the double Hunter. We got the Sylvanus. We have the Erlang Shen. But the issue was, SoaR just said, all right, we're going to camp this Erlang Shen and shut him down.
It was perfect timing to pick up the Serqet because they picked up Sun Wukong as their 4th pick, allowing for that Serqet last pick after the Sylvanus and Erlang Shen was already picked by EnVyUs.
Yeah, I will say we typically don't see junglers last pick. They're almost always picked up in the first half of the draft, and most people save either their Hunter support or kind of Soul Laner to do that. And Baskin had a really good set.
He's just so confident. He picks up his god early on. We saw the Sun Wukong in the second game being picked early on, and then the Raven as well.
Yeah, I mean, there was game 1 EnVy saved CycloneSpin to have that counter matchup. And this game 1 was just Baskin getting a lead and wrecking havoc in the backline, making it very uncomfortable for Oceans more than anyone else to be able to kind of just do anything he wanted.
He got the late game items that he needed to, and he was able to just, look at this, like Kiki getting pounded. He's trying to get the kill onto andinster, but he's getting hit by Baskin the whole time. And this is what you want to do as a solo laner.
It was just the constant poke damage, and it was just impossible. And Baskin there just is not even phased. Just look at his health, right? He was in the middle of a team fight, in the middle of all the AoE damage, and just unfazed with that lead.
So SoaR finding the second win for this set, getting 3 points. They're currently leading the North American standings at 4 over Denial.
I'm really excited to see where SoaR goes because this was definitely a good match for them. This is a team that I think is the opposite of Panthera, right? 5 very mechanically skilled players, at least when it comes to NAU, 5 very mechanically skilled players that have a lot of depth in the competitive scene, and where they end up is going to be an exciting notion to watch.
Definitely an improvement from the last time we see them at the Epsilon Invitational.
It's a massive improvement, but we still have more games today, guys, and we'll be back after just a short break.